There's one other thing on that release, Mike, and when I say it to you, it's going to trigger you into the next part of the story. It tells you your crew members and what their names are on your flight. So how is that going for you in the van?
It doesn't tell us the flight attendants, okay? So this was a flight
it doesn't?
attendant.
It used to.
No.
Oh.
No.
I guess you're right. It doesn't.
You
have to look online.
You can go online and see everybody.
Yeah, that's where you'd see
and
it.
Everything.
Yeah.
And usually, all right, you come down and it's just you and the first officer getting on the van and headed, the flight attendants are usually on a different trip, a different pairing. They may already be on the airplane or they may be at a different hotel, but every now and then you're at the same hotel and you just happen to meet at the van. You didn't even know each other was there. So I come down and there's 3 of the 4 flight attendants and my first officer. And I'm like, all right, no big deal. Everyone, beat me, because I was trying to look at the weather. I was kind of paranoid about that, but I was on time. Like I said, it was 12:45 van. So, I mean, you're not oversleeping a 12:45 van. So we're sitting there, 5 minutes pass, 10 minutes pass. And then I'm like, do any of y'all have their numbers? Because I don't know the flight attendants. I'm just now meeting them in the van. And one of them called and the guy answered. It was a male flight attendant. And he's like, I'll just take an Uber. I don't know if he just lost track of time or what he was doing. But yeah, thankfully the hotel was right across the street from the airport. So it didn't take him long to get there. But I did have an instance at Comair, though. And I don't know if I ever told you this, Tom. And I was an FL. I was pretty new. Things were going down at Comair. This was before the furlough. So there was a lot of bitterness and just, people weren't super happy. I can't remember. I think I was in, where was The Office filmed? What was that name of that city? Scranton. I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I meet the captain down. And this was where, we stayed with the same flight attendant the whole trip. Flight attendant doesn't come down. She doesn't come down. So you start to get a little worried. Like, did they sleep in? Did something happen to them? They pass out? They have a heart attack? You just don't know. So they call her room, no answer. So they go up, security goes up, knocks on the door, no answer. So now you really are getting worried. So they broke into her room and she had laid her entire Comair uniform out across the bed with a sign that said, I effing quit.
Whoa.
So we didn't have a flight attendant. So Delta ended up canceling the flight and we ferried the airplane, I think, back to Cincinnati.
I never heard that story. That is way out.
So that's the kind of stuff, like when a flight attendant doesn't show up, kind of goes through my mind. But then you've also heard of crew members like dying in their hotel room and stuff. So then, you hate to go to that extreme. But when someone's like 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late, or they don't answer their phone, you always assume the worst, but this worked out. I don't know. The guy I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know anything about him, but he wasn't there. But he showed up. We were able to, we weren't late because of him or anything. So
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because there are a lot of instances where there's medical issues or someone died or there was medical that you didn't know about and that's why they're not there. So you kind of like
another thing that changed at Comair, we used to, you check into the hotel with the flight attendants and everything. And it was kind of a custom to go to the room of the flight attendant and like check her room before she entered it. Because there was that case, was it like a US Air flight attendant or something, where there was like a stalker that was in her room before she got there and killed her. This was back in, I don't know, the 90s or something. So everyone, when I got to Comair, that was just the kind of procedure. You check the room. You get to these new airlines now and these millennial flight attendants and stuff, and you try to do something like that, they'll report you for like rape or something. Like it's you can't even look at them like without getting written up or something.
Yeah, you're Captain Merv the perv. Like, you know what?
I think they even tell them in training, like, don't talk to the pilots. They just want to hook up with you and blah, 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 blah. No, I just want to make sure that there's not some weirdo in your room that's like ready to like bury you.
Is that what they used to tell us about the flight attendants? That they were trying to marry us and take all our money? Isn't that what they
Those are those rumors. Yeah. And it's happened to a couple guys.
They don't know. I don't have any money, so it's all good.
Yeah, well,
I was in Stansted once at my company. They call you an hour before the flight, the van time, to tell you what's going on. And we usually have a car that picks you up. So it's a little bit different than the airline.
And we do that too, though, like at longer stay hotels. Like we were at a short stay hotel, so we were right across the street. But if we're like in downtown Providence, because we have, it's more than 14 hours. If we have more than a 14-hour overnight, we go further away than we do from the airport. Then we have scheduled transportation. We have like the car service, the town car, the Chevy Suburban, the whatever. And I love that because that thing, you don't wait on it. You walk out and it's there.
Yeah,
anyways,
that's how it is.
But you guys have that for everything, huh?
Yeah, so the guy wasn't there, and I was like, it was a 3-pilot crew going back. I was the first officer, so the relief officer was there too, and So I was like, okay, I know where the captain's room is. So I went up to knock on his door. He opened the door and he was like full on like PJs, like dead REM sleep, you know. He's like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, first you're alive. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
And he's like, oh, guys, you call them. He's like, you tell them it's going to be an hour. Da, da, da. I was like, all right, man, that's fine with me. I'm like, you take your time.
It's not on you. It's all.
Yeah, they didn't call him. So,
gosh, I think this was when we were at Compass. Maybe it had to be Compass because it was the iPhone was out. It wasn't like Comair days where we had the flip or the Nokia type of thing. When I first got hired at Comair, they gave us a pager when we were on call.
Yeah, the beeper. That's actually, I was watching Castaway, and he finds the pilot's body, and there's a beeper on his belt.
Yeah, they gave us beepers. But that's how old I am. I'm wearing a hat because I don't want the studio lighting to shine on my bald head.
Yeah, Mike, you gotta have a lot of hair.
But anyways, where was I going with this? Off the rails again. But
flip phones.
Yeah. So do you remember? I think we were at Compass because we had the iPhone was out and they did an update, so nobody's alarm worked that next day after the update. Like in the country, like in the whole country. If your phone did the automatic update while you were sleeping, your alarm did not go off, and like everybody slept in across like everywhere. I think I was in San Antonio. It was a mess.
That's a disaster.
I remember that. Knocking on people's doors. I think scheduling was calling people's rooms. You know, it was crazy.
Well, the schedulers are probably late to work too.
You've been listening to the Black Box Aviation Podcast. Real pilots, real stories, and aviation news the way it's actually talked about in the cockpit. If you like what you heard, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss an episode. Until next time, keep the blue side up, and we'll see you at altitude.